Mitch, take it away.
Cool, sweet. Hey guys, I'm Mitch. Um, I do photography and video and commercial. I'm guessing like you guys right over here. Uh, I didn't really have like a monologue or an intro memorized. So like, is there a specific thing you guys talk about, or what's the format here?
Oh, go ahead, Jen.
Oh, I was gonna say, well, like, I guess we could start off. Tell us how long you, like, but not like the birth story, but basically like how long you've been in photography, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, what you like, blah blah blah.
Are you a native Pittsburgher, or you get transplanted here like Justin?
I am a native Pittsburgher. Yeah, so I went to school for film at Ithaca in New York, and when I was there, I primarily focused on film production, video production, that kind of thing. And my initial view of photography was that it was for people who couldn't do video. And then I started shooting photo at like a wedding. One of my first internships ever was right here in Pittsburgh at like a little AV company, did some weddings, that kind of thing. And I second shot photo one of these days, and I was like, oh, this is not bad. I enjoy doing this. And so from there, I started to do a lot of like live event stuff, and that's still my bread and butter. It's not gonna be my bread and butter for the next year or so, but until then, it's gonna be pretty much like still life stuff. So after college, I did a lot of live event stuff. I did a lot of music stuff, and then I realized that making it in music is really hard. And so I wanted to do something to make it a little bit easier. So I started doing more corporate events. And then after I started doing live events, I was like, I want to diversify. I want to do some studio stuff. And so I did some studio stuff. And then that happened for about a year or so. And then I started doing, I don't know, the pandemic happened. And so I couldn't really do any like studio stuff with people. And so that's when I started to really hit hard on like the still life stuff. And so most of the things you'll see are within the last like 3 months. Any questions?
Okay, well, I had the advantage of looking at your site, so I'll save my questions for later. Because nobody else would have seen what I'm talking about yet.
Cool. Insider information.
Well, it's out there for the world to see, but yeah.
Cool.
So go ahead and share a screen and show us some work.
Sweet. All right. Am I good?
So far, so good.
Cool. Sweet. So the main things I've done recently, and those are just things I just had to have more of. So I wanted to focus on more of those just based on what's going to happen with like the photography industry recently. So I got cosmetics, drinks, the studio beauty stuff. That's kind of like a year old. The motion stuff, that's a hodgepodge. It doesn't really fit within a sort of commercial portfolio, but I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I want to do with that. Live events, music's like from concerts and stuff like that. So just start down the order.
Yep, go ahead.
Cool. So a lot of this stuff is just spec stuff that I just shot just because I wanted to. This is a Tom Ford lipstick with a cool underwater trick.
These are all personal projects.
So if you say cool underwater trick, you got to explain that.
Or at least what it's about.
Without giving away huge secrets.
No, not huge secrets, just generally. How'd you get the shot?
This is a technique that I've seen from, I don't know, shoot. It's one of those things that I will tell you, it's extremely easy to do. It's one of those things that like it looks hard, but once you actually do it, you're like, oh, well, anyone can do that. And I saw this from this guy. He had you've probably seen the same technique being used for a Skittles photo. Guy put a bowl of Skittles He lined them up because, shoot, I don't know. But if you notice, none of these bubbles or dots are three-dimensional. They're all in the same plane. So what I used was some plexiglass and a cool water trick to make the dots stay there. And then, yeah, I just shot it.
So the liquid is actually there. It's not a Photoshop trick.
Nope, I can show you the raw file. And this is
No.
no compositing, no nothing. This is just straight up, all on camera.
That's the kind of behavior I like.
Well, Photoshop's great, and I use it in several images. But for this one, I'm proud to say this is not some trick or anything. And the reason you can tell it's not Photoshop is because there's like technical errors inside the dots.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if
I
you,
was
I
just
don't know
going
if
to
you see
say
my-
they look like they're photospheres.
like this right here, that's bad, incorrect. All these little dots within the dot, that's bad. And then on these chunky ones, you can see this wood surface right here where I had the lipstick. So it's not perfect, but I still really like it.
Now the big question. Did you keep the lipstick? Or did you return it?
Or
So-
did you gift it?
I mean,
I
I've
will-
heard- I've
I
heard-
will hopefully gift
Bring
it
on.
eventually, but for now, I will gift it eventually, but hopefully, or usually what I do for all of the cosmetics and the drink stuff is I'll buy like $10 worth of it, and then I'll use it all somehow, and as long as I don't damage it, I can return it. And I always just say, "Oh yeah, my girlfriend wanted something else." And the cashiers are always like, "Oh, ha ha ha." Okay, so I can just like recycle and repeat. So while there's a wide variety of different stuff on here, and some of this stuff is relatively high end, I'm not actually really spending too much money. It's just like maybe $100 max for this entire thing, even though this itself is like $55. The only problem is the stuff that I have to actually use to get the shot, like I'll just say it. So how you do this is you get a piece of transparency, and you like make it straight. You make it go parallel with the Tom Ford or with the whatever, and then you spray it. And then but after I use this, because like the surface is like really like finicky, and even if you do use like the proper cleaning, it still sort of messes up. That has to be bought every single time. So that's like the only tiny annoying thing about doing this kind of thing. But yeah, this was a fun one. This is a composite of 2 shots because I didn't have a tilt shift and I didn't really want to rent $100 just for one shot. And this is paint inside of it.
So what was the tilt shift part of it?
So I guess the technical correct way to do this kind of shot, because you're aiming down like this
Mm-hmm.
and your thing is right here like this,
Yeah.
the plane depth of field, whatever thing, it's not going to be like this. It's actually like this. So even if you go to f32, you're still not going to get technically everything in focus right here.
Yeah.
And so,
Ideally, a 4x5
okay.
would have done the trick with a back.
Quick tilt shift.
I don't know what a 4x5 is, but I take your word on it.
Something really old.
Like me and Dave. No.
You want to be the 4 or the 5?
Well, I'll show you one when you're done.
Sounds good, man. And believe it or not, this was actually done with one light.
Yeah.
And no reflectors either, no V flats, no nothing, just one light.
Good and clean.
Mm-hmm. And this is heavily not heavily photoshopped. It's about like 4 or 5 images stacked together to make everything super sharp and pretty. And there's really nothing really interesting about this one.
Oh, what is this?
This is a cool one. This is a composite of 5 images, and took about like 4 or 5 hours to get all these correct. Actually, no. This is a composite of around 10, 12 images, because the thing about doing this is focus is like extremely hard to do on this, and I still didn't do it technically right. I also didn't have powerful enough flashes to be able to do like the freeze action as well as I wanted to. If I had like a behind the scenes photo, I could show you like here's like the paint drip, and then like literally 2 inches away is like the light, and super annoying because you have to go at a really low power setting to get the maximum flash duration that you want for it. Because at first it doesn't move fast, but that's because it's like sort of like funky and fat at the beginning. But in order to get that like nice clean thin drip, it has to be going like whoosh, and that's really hard to get. And I didn't get it for a lot of them. So what I had to do was I had to do a separate composite for the brush tip, the thin line in the middle, and then the actual physical drop.
Are you doing these with speed lights or bigger lights?
I have 3 ProPhoto D2s.
Aha.
Yeah, freeze mode on that is very, very good.
I'll have to make sure I invite you. Roy Engelbrecht just bought, I haven't seen it, a gadget that either is sound or somehow it triggers for drops, more for when it lands and splashes. It's some kind of new toy they got. Pardon?
Does he have a Myops?
I'll ask him. Unfortunately, he's the one doing the job right now, but I'll find out.
Yeah, well, that's like the Myops is like the one that most people have, because the one that's like super high end is like crazy expensive. But yeah, I actually haven't used this one yet for it. This was all just done with eye.
Gotcha.
But I really want to. This one is the same thing as sort of beforehand with like the magical trick. It's cosmic. This one was fun. Normal three light setup, as you can see, 1, 2, 3 highlights. Same thing as the Kylie lipstick, just a lot of compositing, but this is just to make sure everything's like in focus. This is a hodgepodge. This was actually my very first cosmetic image. I saw it on some guy's website, and I said, I want that on my website. And that's actually a common theme that I did for a lot of these images, but especially the drink photos, where what I'll do is I'll just look at Pinterest or look at people's websites, screenshot it or add it to my Pinterest or whatever, and then I will just say, I want that on my website. And I try to recreate it as best I can. This is a fun one. Speaking of Photoshop, that flare, that orange-white flare on the right side, that is natural. That is not Photoshopped. Yeah, same thing as before. This is another paint shot. This was actually the precursor to doing the larger one, because I wanted to make sure it interacted with the subject how I wanted it to go. And there was actually, because this was my first time doing the paint with it, there's actually in the raw file a heavy amount of cleaning up on both sides of the lipstick, just to get rid of any weird funky reflections. I think this is only 2 lights. Yeah. Well, this is a fun one. This is another, wait. No, wait, yeah, this is 2 lights. Yeah. This is plexiglass with the cool reflection technique, and you can see the 2 lights on the NARS where they're roughly coming from. And the fun part about this one, and whenever people do this type of shot, depending on the product, the most interesting part is always how they shape the reflection light. So like the big bowl of light that goes on the bottom surface, wherever that goes, or like wherever that is, like drastically shapes it. So in this case, because it's a sort of like I had like a wider set thing, there was both. I wanted to get like a gradient over here down to here in the screen, like have it like fade off a little bit. And because I was a bare bulb, it's just naturally circular. And I just thought that was like really cool. I've seen the same type of shot done with like a more singular object, like a perfume or whatever. And that, and in that case, the reflection goes purely just on the thing, which is really cool. This one, I'm probably going to delete it because it's not perfect. And I'm not super proud of it because this was before I realized how many images I truly needed to have in order to make sure every single part of the lipstick was in focus. And you can see in the pink right here, in the pink of the very front one, I forgot to give a click to getting the damn label. So can't win them all. This is a fun one. This was designed to be a image where it looks like everything was just done instantaneously, but this is actually a composite of like 10 different images.
Does it actually spell out anything? No.
Nah. I just wanted some cool shapes and designs. This is a fun one. I didn't realize how fast certain nail polishes dried. And like the key to getting this thing is just to make sure that everything is like wet as possible to get that nice even reflection on that you can see on the highlight. Yeah, you can actually see in some of the pink on the right side where it actually dried faster than say some of the nice red up center. So next time I do that, I'm definitely going to make sure that the styling is better. This is a fun one. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different composites. There's 6 different images composited together. As I realized when I was looking at the Pinterest and looking at this final example, the difference between this one and the difference between the one I really wanted is that you had to cut off the lipstick at the very bottom where it comes out right there, and I cut it flat, and then you had to physically stack them next to each other, so there's not as much separation right here. And then you would have to have like either like a stylist or a production designer to have like some sort of like baby riser, so it's like ever so slightly up in that. But I wasn't gonna really do all that. I just wanted to get something that was like that could sort of prove I knew the theory behind it. I'm pretty sure this is only one light too.
This is like choreographing dancers.
It is, yeah. Like when I first started doing this, I was like, oh, macro objects, anyone can do that. And then I realized that the key to being able to do this at like a really high level is you have to have like great styling to it.
Yeah.
Like even this right here, you could argue is like not styled correctly because the colors don't complement each other super well, but they do enough just because it's like it goes like to a red, then dark, pink, purple, then to a dark, then a red again. So it sort of goes like that, but the styling element is insane, especially for some of the images that are like the absolute top level. Like you could argue the stylist is like the main cog in the machine for those kinds of things.
I will never look at a cosmetic ad the same way going forward. Wow.
It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, any product that has, highlights and detail will drive you nuts like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll talk about more about those highlights when it comes to drinks, because holy shit. Mm. Yeah, it's like a day in the beach type of thing right here. Nothing too crazy there. This is a fun one. So this is one of those examples where I damaged the product. So I had to make sure I used it all beforehand before I did the snip snip. But yeah, nothing. This is one light. I think bare bulb actually. And yeah, nothing too crazy there.
No, but a client would love it as a color swatch,
Yeah.
just like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like part of the reason why I did this image and why I've done several of them on my website is to showcase that I understand how to do like just like certain technical shots. Like if you look at a lot of beauty portfolios, like I have like 10 of them queued up on like a different Safari like window on my Mac. There's like just like certain constants that they all have, and this is one of them.
How did you pick them up without getting fingerprints on them? I mean, honestly, that's seems minor, but
Yes, very, very carefully. It's like for this type of image, the lighting is incredibly simple. The styling is incredibly hard. So I would spend most of my day at the studio doing non-photography things, and then only do photography things for like the last like hour of it to get like an image like this.
mhm.
This is a funky one. I wish I could show you the behind the scenes image for this one. This one took a lot of cleaning because it's an incredibly hard styling thing, and I'm not a stylist. So I definitely understand why a stylist can earn their money doing a shot like this, because it's crazy. This is a fun one. The reference image I had for this one was a lot better because instead of it looking like it just ripped off, the reference image had more of a like a slice off. But that's just because I'm not a stylist. I don't know exactly how to do every single thing, and this was $5, so I wanted to just make sure I got it like good. This is an example of where the D2s, and even though they're good, they're not great all the time. And I say that because if you look at the red stuff, it's completely frozen, sharp, no question about it. The blue, there's lots of questions about it, and so that's just one of the things that next time I do like high speed and I get like a Pro 10 or something like that, I rent it out. I'm gonna make sure I get all the bells and whistles for like one day, and in that one day, I'm just gonna do as much stuff as I can, because most people won't notice that, but the people like the art directors who hire you, they'll be like, "Oh, this person doesn't understand how to do it." I'll be like, "Yes, I do." But yeah, this was a fun one. I'm pretty sure this was right before the cosmic lipstick image that was up higher on the list right here.
I like the random feel of this one.
Yeah. It's like a minefield, and unfortunately, this is around 30 lipstick tubes. I wanted to get more because if you look at the very top image, there's some technical imperfection of like there's some gray there, but yeah, that gray shouldn't be there. Like a red tube or a purple tube or whatever kind of lipstick tube should be there to cover that up, but I didn't have enough. But I still really wanted to do a shot because it took forever to make sure those were all like sort of positioned roughly, neatly, that sort of thing. This is another one where I saw a reference image and I really wanted to do it, but then when it came time to actually do the styling element, it just showcased my inexperience with it. So this is another example of having a tilt shift would have been really good because most of it's in focus, but not enough for my taste. Yeah, showed you that one before roughly. Yeah. Oh, this is a nice one right here. Nice, cool moisture technique. The styling of this one was also messed up because if you look at the purple one right here, all these dots are really nice and pretty. They're nice, small. There's like a nice amount of even size. if you look at it on the other ones, they're not as nice and pretty. And that was back when I was just starting to learn the moisture technique. And if I did this shot again, I would have a much better understanding of how the water interacts with the different types of lipstick, because matte versus cream, it's insane what the difference equates to.
Interesting.
It's eyeshadow. It's a nice, cool one. The amount of times I've had to spend like trying to get it out of its like palette, is another one of those things where it's like I spend more time doing like the styling and making sure it looks good before I actually do the lighting. And same thing as like a lot of the other ones. This is a simple one light thing, but yeah. No, this is a fun one.
How did you do that?
That is, I got a tube of Revlon, and then this is actually a different color. This purple, I think I actually had like a red one, and I had a spare leftover purple nail polish. I just did.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. This is a fun one. This is a composite. And after that, I did this. Sort of same images before. Roughly sort of the same thing as before. This is an interesting one because it made me realize how or why people get like 20 of the same thing for product shoots, is that I used one palette to get perfectly clean 3x3 rows. Then I got a second palette that was the exact same, and I broke that one up to get chunks all throughout it. Same thing as before, roughly. This is a fun one.
When you say you have your reference ideas, are they coming from Elle magazine and publications like that?
Probably, yeah. I mean, if I just type in Pinterest, either makeup photos, or I now have enough that Pinterest will actually go to more ideas, and under that tab, there will be more stuff like this, where it's like become easier to search. But also, one of the things that I've found has been really effective is I don't really search photographers. I search for cosmetic stylists, and then I go to their websites and I say, "Oh, I want that image." And just like sort of like buying an Amazon or something, I then do my best to get it on my website. And that's a fun one.
What did you use for the background there?
That is cosmic nail polish.
A lot of it.
How did you get it to swirl like that? It's really cool.
I just did that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes the styling is really like architectural and complex and everything. But sometimes, like if you want the swirl, just gotta do the swirl.
I like it. Yeah.
This one is a cut up. I don't really like it, but yeah.
If you were into Civil War bullets, it kind of looks like a mini ball.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like, there's actually like a handful of like cosmetic images I've seen where people sort of like will play with the idea of like a lipstick, like a bullet or something like that. Like they'll actually put it in a revolver or whatever, and just like photograph it like that, just because like you get hired to shoot these just because of Revlon or whatever, or maybe like a Sephora, like a chain store kind of thing. But sometimes people just want like artsy images, and artsy still life can be what you said, where like you just sort of incorporate like, oh, this sort of looks like a bullet, so let's shoot a bullet, a gun. So we'll put those two together and make an image out of it. That's boring. This was a more artsy one. I've seen better examples of this, but that's all I could do or knew how to do at the time. It's just splatter them all out. And like the other nail polish image, you can see some of it dries faster than the other. So you got to make sure you're good to go like immediately. So like what I did was I made sure the lighting was good first by placing the bottles where they were going to be. And then I then did the thingy and then immediately just like took it. And then with this kind of thing, because it dries, you only really get 1 or 2 shots. You can't really position stuff because you're already making the puddle with like the green, pink, and the yellow. And you can't really re-splatter because that's going to like do different layers kind of funky just because of the way like it like dries and stuff like that. So that's kind of like a funky thing right there. That's boring. Smear stuff. Eyeshadow pile. Makes it like artsy.
Very bad hamburgers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
McDonald's gone very wrong.
Before I forget, I threw a name in the text of an old client and an old model friend, Flume Makeup. Definitely check into them.
Oh yeah.
They're local. They have a glam bar. I think out in South Hills still, but good husband and wife ownership.
Oh sweet, awesome.
Are they a manufacturer or like a studio?
They have a blowout bar, you know, makeup and mild hair. She started off with a makeup line that she kind of custom made, but it came from another company. I mean, I think she doesn't actually work it from ground up. She's kind of like a reseller.
That's cool.
But she has huge lips. She used to work for a plastic surgeon.
Oh, okay.
And he toned them down?
Opposite. But again, her and her husband, who's just as good looking, are a great couple. I think he put the money up front for the salon, but they're a great couple. And again, a lot of makeup shots from their website from before. If I can find a box of old products, I'll give it to you. But I think I might have pitched it when I moved.
Oh,
I can't picture needing to keep much makeup.
cool. So this is the drink stuff now, and this flare is entirely organic. I just did that with like a slow shutter speed to get like that blur going. And it's funny, this one, I actually tried to do a reference image on Pinterest. And both this one and the Budweiser, which we'll see like in like 2 or 3 photos, they're sort of similar to it, but the reference image, I still couldn't figure out exactly how they did it. Like the 2 images I have right here on my website are not exact matches of it, but still really like how it turned out. Nice glow, sunset stuff. The only thing that's like slightly bad about it is the droplets are not as uniform or pretty as I would like them to be, but you only do so much.
You know, they look pretty organic to me.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man. This one is actually an exact copy of someone else's image on the website or on their website. The difference in their image is they don't have this nice, pretty red line on the bottle. And when I saw that in the raw file, I asked the retoucher if they can like saturate that to make it more clean and like present and emphasize the green at the bottom right here. And they did. And I really love this image. That's still like one of my favorites after like a year of doing this.
That's one of the ones that caught my eye when I first saw your site.
Yeah, I love it. It's like a like an effect almost, because like what's the Coca-Cola leaning against? But it almost like doesn't matter because it's just like, oh, that it just looks cool.
Oh, yeah, it's a bottle, no problem. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I really like this one. I saw this image. There's a Brian Kaldorf, I think that's his name. He's a Pittsburgh guy. I saw something like this on his website, and like I've been saying before, like I wanted it. So I figured out how to do it. Lighting cans, I absolutely hate. So I'm going to try and not do those because it's incredibly difficult to light the can without getting these dumb highlight reflections on it. Absolutely annoying, but I think it works for this image. And the droplets are really cool because it has like some motion going on some of them, particularly on the left side where he says Coke. And yeah, I really like that one.
Yeah, Brian's a former member, board member. Definitely miss him in the group.
Oh yeah. I really like his website. He's got some sweet stuff on it. There's some Budweiser. This is what I was talking about earlier. The exact replica image was not this, but got it like something I like pretty good. The droplets look super organic, which I'm happy about, as well as there's plenty of like logo representation for like the client if this were like an actual like image for them. Same thing for this one, where it's like a little bit more of like an artsy thing, because a lot of bottles, products, that kind of thing, like depth of field and like making sure every single thing's in focus is often like really critical. But for this one, I wanted to make it like kind of like a tree forest type of thing, where like if someone took a nature shot of like a tree, then usually parts of the other stuff's like out of focus. So I wanted to make it sort of like that. There's this guy named Rob Lawson. He's a drinks photographer in the UK, and he's like the absolute goat at doing drinks, in my opinion. And he does a lot of like depth of field stuff, or shallow depth of field stuff. So I really wanted to like just mimic that as like best I could. Budweiser. This is another image where I saw on someone's Pinterest or something. And I said, I want it. So I did it. I like how it says like the Great American on the left side, and that's like sort of the main thing that draws it to you. Because even though you can't read the entirety of Budweiser, everyone knows who it is. It says like the King of Beers right there, pretty clearly. Speaking of the King of Beers, yeah, I wish it was just a little bit more sharp in the water droplets in the first, or like the front one. It's a little front heavy focused for me, like after like looking at it like again and again, but whatever.
Got to introduce you to a 4x5 and get it, save that for later. But yeah, definitely got to introduce you to a 4x5 camera.
It sounds super cool. If that's like one of the things that I always see like an old Western movie with like someone got like the
Yep.
like little black.
Bad idea.
Yes, because that whole front and back swings, and you can match your focus exactly. You could have gotten that whole forest in focus with the swings and the tilts.
Oh, really? That's awesome, man.
And they make adapters for phase 1 backs. I think they make adapters for 35, but I haven't heard of anybody having great success with it.
Gotcha. Speaking of great success, lighting this with even 3 lights was incredibly hard. Like how I mentioned with like the cosmetics, like where it's like, oh, it's like really hard styling, but really easy lighting. For this, it was relatively easy styling, but the photography aspect was like super hard, mainly because of minimizing shadows and actually physically lighting the entirety object. For this one, I had one on the right side of the cap as well as the left side of the cap, and you can it's given away by the stark highlights on both sides. And then in order to get like just everything else like well lit, there was like a light roughly going down as like my third. I think it was going a little bit behind it as well, but yeah, I needed all 3 lights to get this one. This is another motion blur slow shutter speed one. I initially didn't like this one because of how the bottles were still dark, and even after using 3 lights, I still couldn't figure out how to truly make it every single thing like sort of like bright and shiny, how I had it in my head. But Yeah, I think it turned out really cool. This is something I actually did for Absolute Vodka Licks. This was like last year, I think, for their Mother's Day campaign. And yeah,
Is that the broken up design on the bottle?
the what?
Don't worry about it. I was just looking at the bottle, the black and gray, and I just never seen that bottle before. Don't
Oh
worry.
yeah, yeah. This was actually one of their first bottles. They had, so I did this exact same shot with like this is their old bottle, and they have like a newer one where it's like where these lines are indented in the glass.
Okay.
And that was like really challenging to shoot just to make sure all those little like lines were like good and everything. This was my first image doing product photography. I had two softbox going around the front, one shooting on the back, and looking back on it now, I really wish I would have known what freeze mode was back then because I still think it works. I still think it looks cool,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
it's still not like I guess it's not technically correct. This is like a fair amount of Photoshop, and this is what I meant about like how it's like really hard to light it, just because like the reflections. I really wish that reflection on the left side, like that highlight stuff, I really wish I wasn't there, but I couldn't figure out how to not do it, so it's there. This is a fun one. I was fortunate enough to have an assistant one day, and then we cranked out like 7, 9 images of like this Coke series in 2 days. It was fantastic. Lots of styling went in on this to make sure it was absolutely perfect, including some fizz tricks to make that little like cosmic stuff go out there. I even got a couple of shooting stars. This is the second image that I stole from Brian. He did it with a yellow background, like a beer or something like that. And I was like, oh, I really want to do that. His Photoshop, however, was in the shadows. These shadows are actually 100% organic. Gotta love a 12-pack. And the 6-pack.
Excellent.
This is another funky one with, I wish I would have known what freeze mode was. I also wish I would have had like a flag or something because the water or the whiskey bleeds a little bit too much for my liking. This one, it looks Photoshopped because of how perfectly perpendicular and parallel that bottle is, but that is actually 100% real. Like if I showed you the raw file, it would show that exact same thing. The only thing I don't like about it is the weird highlights that this whiskey glass gives, and I really wish that wasn't there. But yeah, live and learn. It's also proper. It's also not properly styled because I don't really think that people would be pouring a Jack and Coke really wouldn't be in this sort of scenario. It would be like this tumbler is much too fancy for that kind of thing. It would be just strictly whiskey, but yeah, whatever.
Are those soft boxes or strips?
These were, I believe, these were actually no. This is a really cool technique that I saw on the internet somewhere where you get one big ass softbox and then you put a piece of black right here, right behind your object, and then that's it. This is a one light photo.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like one of those like funky properties of light that I'm still amazed by, and you actually see that like in that third lipstick image, like the Kylie one was like pink or whatever. The reason it gets like those nice bands on the side is because I use the exact same technique. This is a cool one. So my dad traveled a lot, about 10 years ago. And so he he always brought back his beer bottle caps. And so I did this collage for Father's Day. And the annoying thing about this is that even after spending like an hour restyling and removing all these pieces, it's not styled correctly because there's several Hofbrauhaus images, or several Hofbrauhaus that are like too close together. And there's like another couple ones that are like too close together and stuff like that. But now what? Whatever.
Very cool. Very cool.
This is a fun one. I wish it were more angled, but yeah. This was with 2 lights, one on each side really, and that's how I got the really cool glow. It's just usually you shoot from behind. I was fortunate enough to get it like sort of like this way, instead of cross shooting it beforehand. This is a cool one. I saw this on the internet and I said, I want this on my website. Same thing with this one.
There you
Same
go.
thing with that one. Yeah, just like your basic pour shot right there. I like how the green glows right there. A little heavy on the highlight on the top right, but you know, whatever. Another cosmic Coke image. Real ice. This is a nice foam of the Coke head. I really like this one. Shows off Coca-Cola without actually giving away like the brand insignia and that kind of thing.
Cool, but I like the overhead better.
Yeah.
Yeah, the overhead's a little more dynamic.
Which one was that?
The overhead opener.
That one?
One
Yeah.
more. There.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. The one with the overhead with the bottle opener says, you know, somebody's going to open this and consume it.
Yeah.
You know, it has some action inferred.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I just noticed a drop on the bottom of that one. Very nice.
Oh, the bottom right here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the like way to do that is just to get super lucky and just like hope you get it at the right time. I wish I were bigger. I wish it were like a drop, like sort of how like I have like the nail polish sticks where it's like a little bit more of a droop, but I'll take it.
Mhm.
Not cool. This is one of the, so that guy that I mentioned earlier, Rob Lawson, he does a lot of like, he can do studio drinks, but what he really specializes in is like doing like these like sets that showcase the product in like a unique way. And I wish I could do it. This is my attempt at it, but unfortunately, after like really thinking about it, the styling is really funky, so it's not exactly right. But and also the whiskey is like too red. It needs to be like more of a yellow orange. But you can only do so much.
Are you using the old trick of having a white card behind the bottle?
No, actually, that was shot with a I had a backlight coming from the image right, and then I had 2 lights coming from the left side. Lighting this one took forever because just not super good at lighting drinks in like a more stylized scene like this. But yeah, like the gold card does like work a fair bit. I was just worried it was going to be shown through.
The leg of the ladder kind of takes the place of it.
Yeah.
The question that I've got is why is there a lemon with a bottle of scotch? I know I'm missing something.
Yeah. That's one of the things where I mentioned like the styling was off. It's like, yeah, I was like, oh, whiskey, and then I got home and I was like, ooh, Scotch whiskey. Yeah, so it's not technically right from either like a styling or lighting thing, but I just thought it was cool, like the way like the ladder was in it somehow. But next time I do this type of image, I'm definitely going to make sure that the everything that's like supposed to be right is right.
Yeah.
Like
That's
what you're saying about like lemon scotch, yeah.
Because what Scotch is one of those things that you drink by itself. You don't mix Scotch.
hmm Yeah, I think it's because I had like a bullet bourbon, and I switched it out last minute because I like Johnny Walker better, without like fully thinking, oh, yeah,
It's the stuff that you build on as you do it.
oh for sure, yeah. Also, I just don't like really drink scotch too much, so I just saw whiskey.
Yeah.
I was going to say, or drink it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be,
This is another like stylized image right here. Yeah, nothing too crazy here. I really wish the bottom part or the right side of this image had more of like a dark feel to it, but I was doing so many splashes back to back. It was just really hard to like just get one where it's like a half and a half. Also, the freeze mode would have been really helpful for this kind of thing.
You'll have to explain what a freeze mode is.
So, in order to capture super fast action, the technical way to do it with strobes is to make the flow, what's called the flash duration, or how long the flash is on for,
Right.
really short.
Shorted, right.
But the problem is the like the more light you put out to it, like if it's like you put on full power, that's gonna have long.
duration. Right.
it's a balancing act. You
Yeah,
can't get a lot of power in short duration.
I just didn't know when you said mode, I didn't know if that was something that they've added to cameras or something. Short duration, yes, but you need the power for, if, as Dave said, a balancing act.
yeah. That's actually a strobe thing. So the D2 is a monolight that has the freeze mode like attached to it. Or like, so all you have to do is just press a button. And so the reason it's not always in freeze mode is because there's like some color shift going on that can sometimes happen. It wouldn't be anything that I would really notice or care about for my purposes, but like the people who like do this at like the absolute highest level, they care about, oh, that's 100 degrees warmer, can't use a shot, that kind of thing. So, or we just need like more Photoshop for it. So, like if you like, and you can see the technical error on the bottom part of the image where it's like roughly at the half and half. You can see that blurred water right there. That doesn't look nearly as pretty as if you go to the top center image or the top part of the image and look left. All those little droplets right there are completely frozen. That's what you always want, or that's what most people always want, or like the climb or whatever, because that's like the pretty.
So hey, I have to run, but I just wanted to say how much I appreciated seeing these and doing product photography for our Zoom too. This was really cool. So
We've had a lot of flowers recently, and
too many flowers.
nothing wrong with flowers. I'm waiting for
So-
flowers and bees for the next upcoming one.
Maybe
So
we get
sorry.
cattle.
Yeah, so sorry I got to take off, but Mitch, maybe at some point in the future, I'd like to see more of your work and get to know you better. So, but I appreciate you coming on tonight. This was awesome.
No problem, yeah. Take
So-
care.
Okay, see you guys.
See you
Thanks.
around campus, Jen.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you.
I wish I could share these chips with you guys right now.
I need to guzzle some more iced tea.
The family just went out for Mitchell's ice cream, so I'll be
Ooh.
I forget how many lights were used here, but just thought it was cool.
I'll tell you what, before we lose anybody else, just for a change of, again, you can veto me, Mitch, but for a change of pace, maybe jump over to some of the performance stuff or
Oh yeah, totally, yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to get to like the bottom part of like this
okay,
stuff.
gotcha. But again, always try to keep these to an hour and a half, 2 hours top. So we're doing okay, and you're the only one showing tonight, so you got the whole boat.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, wait a minute. I haven't
Oh,
got.
wait a minute, yeah, we got baby pictures.
I have one baby picture.
Okay. Well, when your finger gets tired, Mitch, we got a baby photo.
The first time I was at an ASMP event, it was at it was like last fall or 2 falls ago, something like that. It was at Resolution Rentals and Kayla Spicer's studio.
Yes.
And halfway through it, a guy named Elliot Kramer said, "All right, well, I'm going to show you pictures of my kids." And we did that for about an hour, and that's my like lasting memory / image of him. Even though I see him post on Facebook all the time, and I know
This is not a regular thing. All right, so where is this?
This is the Royal Albert Hall in London. This was a headlining show by Beth Hart, and I was.
Yeah. I just discovered her.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, she's a great person. She's been through a lot in her life, and she's just like a calm person and everything. This was the biggest show of the tour, and she really nailed it. The interesting thing about this place is that it's sort of similar to stadium seating in the United States. In the United States, where there are certain boxes which aren't available to the public. So she sold out the show, but it technically wasn't full capacity because not everyone who was in those boxes, which you pay for by a year, and apparently these subscriptions are like $15,000. So if you look, like there's like these little boxes where people are sitting at right there, and to get one of those little rooms, boxes areas, it's like in like an insane amount of money. But this was
Like a
probably the
corporate
best
box
show
at
ever.
baseball.
Sorry, what?
Like a corporate box at baseball.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. I couldn't even imagine like even just like being in one of those things. It's crazy. This was in San Diego, California. This is Weezer. This is Nick something from Walk the Moon. This was in the Anthem at DC.
My girls knew those guys when they were students up here at Case Western.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, a small world.
That happens a lot here.
It's a very small world.
This guy's David Guetta. He's a DJ. This is a rapper. This was in New York at the Hot 100 Festival a couple years ago. This is Waka Flocka Flame. Pretty sure he headlined it, that stage individually. This is a guy named Fetty Wap, New Jersey repping right there. That was at a relatively local festival. It was in Columbus. This was the headlining act from that same festival. It's not 1,000% sharp. I'm really pissed by that, but this band's DNCE. They move fast, and I'm like, I really wish I would have just like cranked my shutter to like 1/4000, raised my ISO to 3200 or whatever, and just like shoot away. That probably would have been a more effective thing. But always riding that balance, and like and Justin, I'm sure you know, like riding the balance between the ISO and like the shutter speed to like make it like the best possible like image. Insane. And this is another issue of like that shutter speed issue where there's some blur that would have made this a really great image, but Yeah.
Well, this would sell.
What?
That would sell. You know,
Yeah.
you know, if I were the, the music trades, looking for part of this band, that would sell.
Yeah. They did a really good job during the performance. I enjoyed them a lot. I actually still listen to them now because of it. They're called AJR. But the other problem with this image is that they were the second or third act before the headliner. So you can see a lot of the stuff behind them.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be really too good for them.
Well,
this one right here was Lollapalooza at a pretty sure the second or third smallest stage. This is a guy that I've worked with a fair bit. His name's Morgan. And unfortunately, he didn't make the entire back row area completely there. You get that nice like sea horizon effect right there, but it was still pretty cool. He loves like climbing around stuff like that. So whenever I shoot with him, I can get center stage and get like that nice like pretty open shot like this, and like he doesn't care at all. This is Cash. This is an example where like I'm sure you guys know where like blurring the shutter is like cool, and it adds to like the like flag waving kind of thing right there. This is the Benedum for a Straight No Chaser a couple years ago. They did like 2 sold out shows there. I was like, that's insane. This is T-Pain, and I know this looks like he's posing right here, but he moves super fast too. It's like insane. And luckily it was daytime, so the shutter speed wasn't really an issue right here, but damn. Weezer. Cash. Forget her name.
Pheronome, what?
This is BB Rexa. She's just got a super sweet microphone. I wanted to capture that.
Is the brass knuckles part of the mic?
Yeah, so like she can grip it like that too. It's crazy. This is John Bellion. He's super cool.
He's lit from the footlights.
Yeah. This is from Philly. In one of their radio concerts or like radio show concerts or something like that, from like the crowd or something. This is another image where like either a sharper shutter speed or me getting to a better focus point would have been a lot better. If the eyes aren't in focus or anything like that, you can actually see critical focuses on the chain and like the buttons. But the thing I really like about it is like he's doing that thing with his tongue.
Well, in the wire service world, don't worry, send it. Right, Justin?
Yeah, they'll blur the rest of it for you.
Just a
Yeah.
little sharp, you're good.
Ex ambassadors. They're nice. Their management's terrible, but I feel like that's most artists. Same radio show from Philly, Mr. Wives. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, who's the person? You guys know her. What's that person? She's Hart.
Oh,
It's her.
Ann Wilson or Nancy Wilson?
Ann Wilson. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I forgot her name, but yeah, that's her.
I like the black and white.
Thanks. Yeah, like sometimes like it sucks because it's like it's not like studio photography where you can sort of choose the lighting and stuff like that. For that one, it's sort of like it's like, oh, it's a cool shot, but the lighting sucks. So hey, black and white. I really wish critical focus was on this guy in the front with the glasses. But you can actually see where critical focus hits. Like if you look to the left of him, you see a guy in a green hat where it's just his head. And I'm like,
My eye goes to the girl looking down her cleavage.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah. So it's not a perfect image either, but
We all have different things we look at, Archie.
Well, no, I mean, everybody's doing their own thing, which is what I like about it.
yeah, it's taking a selfie, cleaning off the confetti, hand in
I'm
the
gonna get
air.
this confetti off my boobs before I go home.
Yeah, this one's bad focus. I'm pretty sure I messed it up somewhere, but yeah, critical focus is on the mic to the right side. The guy is not super sharp, girls ish, but it's a shame. That would have been a really nice image, even with the symbol head in his way.
Yeah, that would still sell.
Yeah, Mr. Wives for that radio show in Philly. There was a guy. He had like the Canon 1124, and he did the same. He did the same shot. And you can see it right here in mine. There's like a bridge on the side. He got the whole thing. He saw that he got the massive bridge and the crowd. And I'm like, well, that's a $3,000 lens right there. So, but it would have paid off.
You know, you build from the basics.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then yeah, that's pretty much it.
Tell you what, I'm going to grab my 4x5 off the shelf. Let Dave show his baby photos. Oh, I like that. Anything else from the Beth Hart concert in this batch?
No, yeah, that was pretty much the only image. I usually try to do one image per artist,
Gotcha.
so it looks like I shoot like as many different types of people as possible.
Because there's a lot of YouTube videos from that concert. I believe it's that concert.
Yeah, the live. Well, she's headlined twice. That one was from 2018, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
If I need to hear somebody screaming, that's who I go to now.
Crazy on you, huh?
Pretty close, but yeah, kind of a Janis Joplin feel.
Yeah, she's a bit smoother. The whiskey hasn't taken her voice yet. Okay, what else you got for us?
That's pretty much it. I guess I can show you some quick corporate stuff, but you've probably all seen that before, like through your own stuff.
Well, what's the difference between live events and music?
I try to categorize it between music is like live events are specifically music, whereas my live events are like more corporate based. So like this is like a YouTube thing. This is some lawyer. He's a big deal or something. This is for Bayer out in Chicago at their trade show. This is Google.
I wonder if Roy was there.
This is a mansion that the Kardashians actually rented out for Kanye West's birthday 2 weeks prior to us being here. And when I heard about that, I was like, oh my God, that's insane. And then I say, hey, Bill Peduto.
Okay,
And so, yeah, that's pretty much it.
so who are you booking this stuff for?
Which kind of stuff?
Well, who's hiring you to do the corporate stuff?
The company.
Okay, and they're just finding you through your website and reputation.
No, I wish I had representation. That'd be sweet. I'm trying to find that, but everyone's like, oh no, we need like you have like a couple of national clients. We need like 20 national clients to even consider you. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. But a lot of the work I do is almost exclusively gotten through me just emailing, Twitter DMing, Instagram DMing, Facebook messaging, brands' pages and saying, hey, here's my website, let me work for you. And then a lot of times they'll say they either won't respond or they'll say, oh, I'll send you to our marketing people. And then if I'm lucky, I'll get a no. If I'm even luckier, I'll get a yes. And then you have to negotiate all the fees and stuff like that. Sometimes I'll get all the way through the yes stage, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, $300 for this product thing or whatever. And I'm like, no. So it's like a constant balancing act of like, yes, I want your money, and yes, I can do the job, but also,
And yes, you can afford to pay me.
yes, because like you have over 1 million followers on your social media page. You are making money, and I want some of it. But yeah, I've gotten honestly very few gigs because people either refer me or because people find me. Like 98% of the jobs I've gotten are because I just reach out to people.
All right, I'm gonna jump out, guys. I'll see you next time. It was great seeing your
All right,
work,
wait,
Mitch.
Polly. Polly, I'm going to show you my grandson.
Nice body of work.
Polly, before you go,
Yeah,
there's going to be a new, I think it's this Tuesday, a teaching Tuesday, where Elliot Kramer, that you mentioned earlier, will be showing, everybody, but specifically professional level members, how to add photos and do SEO on their final photographer. So are you a professional member, Polly, or?
no, I'm I guess an emerging.
Okay. Well, again, still something to watch.
Okay,
Because he talks good SEO, search engine optimization.
optimization, sure, I know what that is.
So it's going to be Tuesday morning, I believe, 10:30. But
Okay,
I wanted to get through tonight, so then I'll throw an email out for that. And then
awesome.
a week from tonight, it's Garrett DiBartolomeo and Mark Sirocco.
Okay,
And
very
then
good.
in a week from there, Annie O'Neill and Nate. So I
Okay.
don't have to go find anybody for 2 weeks. I feel like I got a vacation coming now.
All right, I'll check in with you then. Okay, good
Take care.
night.
All right, good night, Polly.
Thank you for sharing your work, Mitch. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. If you're done, Mitch, I would say go ahead and unshare. And while Dave is getting his baby photos ready,
I know exactly where it is.
this is a older style press camera.
Yeah, but
It's basically a 4x5.
the chunky thing.
What was that?
The chunky thing.
Yeah, it is indeed a chunky thing.
That looks heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, this is mild compared to an 8x10. And here's the film that it would take.
That looks expensive.
In its day, not really, but there's no place to process it anymore. Well, you could probably process your own black and white, and you could send out the film and then bring it back and scan it. But it's this part here that gives you the swing and the tilt that we were talking about. There's some oddball stuff out there that, for medium format and some 35, like you were saying, the swing, the shift tilt lenses. There was a Silvestri camera that had bellows that you could attach to a 35 millimeter. But I think what you're doing is probably better than hassling with that much effort.
All right.
So, baby. Oh,
I am trying to get the share screen, and there we go.
there we go.
Where did he go? He is on here someplace.
And real quick, Mitchell, if Farm Aid ever has live concerts again, that's semi-easy to get to if you're doing it for a venue. If you're doing it for a news service or a blog, you have to pay for your credential, but it's like $20.
I like back when I started doing music like a lot. I tried hard to like find like how to get in places, and people were always like, oh well, you got to be like with like a news organization. So I'm like, all right. So I went to news organizations, and they said, oh, we already have someone, or we don't want to pay you. And I'm like, well, how am I supposed to get in? So that's one of the reasons why I stopped shooting concerts, is because it became like a lot more of a like, oh, we already have a guy or something like that. And I'm like, well, how do I break in?
That's a topic for another day. Right, Justin?
Here we go. Yeah, I'm going to dump my grandson on here.
Okay, here we go. Baby time. Baby time.
Roughly 2 hours old. No, that's not the good one.
But I love the soft window.
Yeah, that looks like a stock image.
Yeah, we're going to see if we can get him some diaper modeling gigs.
Oh, well, tell you what. I'm going to stop recording.
Yeah, that probably would be a good idea.